Hello and welcome. Nice to be at your place, wherever you're watching right around the world. Hello and welcome to round 3 of the Motorsport Australia Saturday League Cup for Race on Oz. And tonight we are at the High Speed Ring, one of the classic circuits from Gran Turismo. It's located near a water dam, and that is fantastic to know as well. But this track, known for its fast flowing nature, along with being a great course here on Gran Turismo. We are just about to get into qualifying as we take a quick look at the calendar for this evening. Round 3 of this championship already, can you believe it? And heading to the High Speed Ring here this evening. We've left Tokyo East and Tokyo South, and we're getting ready for round 3 tonight as I welcome into the commentary box this evening. It's not Isaac Fogarty this week, of course. It is Isaac out, Liam Tame. That's right, the Liam Tame is alongside me in the commentary box this evening. Liam, good evening to you. This is going to be an absolute cracker here tonight for round 3 of this championship.
Good evening, Trevor. Yeah, massive shame to lose Isaac for this particular round at the High Speed Ring, but absolutely thrilled to join you in the commentary box for what's going to be a very exciting round 3. Of course, we've got 12 of Australia's best Gran Turismo drivers here tonight, and they're going to put on a show, Trevor. This is going to be super exciting.
Absolutely. Big hello. Isaac's in the chat along with Jimbo as well. Snorkel. Good luck to all the Division 1 and Division 2 drivers here this evening. But Liam, we are not wasting any time because we are already into the qualifying session looking at Walmar Alonso here on our screens now, and the usual suspects setting quick times in the first half of this qualifying session.
Going to be pack racing all the way through tonight, I think, Trevor. We can already see tonight, see on our screen right now, we've got James, GDR, and I think that's Payload just getting a bit of a push going in behind. Payload, they're going to the top actually, so Jimmy Payload to the top in that banana yellow Sylvia, and it's going to be all through the field, people pairing up, trying to get the best out of this lap, which is effectively an oval, Trevor, only 6 corners.
Absolutely, 6 corners. As you can see, this circuit is very, very fast. Not a lot of turns involved. And are we going to see some slipstreaming? And slipstreaming here this evening, as we saw in the opening 2 rounds of Tokyo, Liam. They look like they're trying to get a tow here at the high-speed ring as well.
There's going to be a lot of it. We've really built this calendar to work in stages, and the first few stages have been nothing but slipstream battles. Going to see so much of this for the opening 3 rounds at least. Then we're going to start getting into some technical and twisty circuits. So tonight, it's going to be all about dogfighting. If you've ever seen it on tracks like Daytona, Talladega, anywhere NASCAR ovalish, this is what we're going to see tonight. It is going to be absolute chaos.
Absolutely. Jimothy Payload there is leading the way. Prima GTR's ahead of him, but you can see Jimmy getting a tow here. We've already travelled 5 minutes in this qualifying session here. As you can see, perfect weather here for this round of the championship. And what about our championship? Of course, we'll get to the driver's standings in just a few moments, but Jimmy pulling out there, GT James as well. Let's keep going through the order. Matthew Simmons, well, he's got Noodles for company here as well. Are they working together here this evening? They're working in teams tonight here, Liam.
Yeah, Noodles and Matt have become a bit of a force to contend with. From talking to Matt through the week, he was absolutely chuffed with Noodles hopping back into the championship in round 2. He really struggled to find someone to connect with in round 1 and really thinks that could have cost him for an outright win. Having Noodles here in P2 though, or in behind him I suppose as a rear gunner, was nothing but beneficial for him in round 2, and I think he's going to have the same success tonight.
Absolutely, of course. This circuit is also very high tyre wear. We are going to be seeing softs for quali only, with the mediums potentially for a 2-stopper, or will they chuck on the hards and go for a 1-stop race? These are the questions which we will see answered tonight. Gotta love the Autobahn livery there, as these boys, they want to work together, because Slipstream will be their biggest asset tonight, and they've got to find someone to work with. But they don't want to get too close here, Liam. Otherwise, they might upset their hot laps here.
Yeah, these are the laps where it really pays to know the guy you're slipstreaming, as those guys got it wrong there in turn 2. That was a bit of paint being traded there with the wall and with each other. So they'll have to recoup and go again for their 6th lap in qualifying. But yeah, it's just one of those things, right? I can see that Paquitas Tank currently at the top, and he's working with his FR Racing teammates right now. I think he's pushing Stingray somewhere down the main straight, and they've been able to get some really quick lap times out of it. But it's a game of thousandths right now. It is a very slender margin of less than 2/10 separating the top 8 drivers so far.
There is nothing in it here at the moment, and you can see, of course, how close it is with Noodles. What about Motorsport Australia Esports, who have trusted RaceOnOz this year to run this event? We absolutely love it here for RaceOnOz. You can see all of our socials there, but this qualifying session, just 2 minutes remaining, and have we got some quick times coming your way? Big hello to Max Silva as well. There, as Jimbo says, talk about wall riding here as we take a look at Distinct Andrew. That's a big name, Liam. That's a big name not to be at the pointy end of the proceedings here with only a couple of minutes left.
He's really struggling to get that maximum lap time right now. I mean, we talk about Andrew Lee, we often talk about race wins, podiums and pole positions. So seeing him in 7th is just unfamiliar territory for the Gran Turismo ace. There's really nothing else we can call him, to be honest, at this point. We can see him right now just setting himself up behind, I should say, a bunch of his teammates trying to get a run in. You can see actually there's a couple guys just lingering behind him in the background of that camera shot. I think it's Ridwan and Walmart Alonso trying to get that massive tow in behind. So there's a couple games being played right now. A couple guys just trying to figure out where they can get that edge and that advantage. And it's really fun to see just where people are trying to exploit the system. In a fair way, of course, but very interesting qualifying so far with only a minute to go.
Absolutely. 2 legs, of course, this championship, followed by a playoff finals system. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Look at this. You can see Distinct Andrew. Which way is he going to go? Coming around now, he's going to get another lap in, or is he? I think he's going to be okay, isn't he? He's going to make this one work. Prying Stingray in 8th. There you can see they're all together. The proud Serbian Ridwan Hamza, the great man Oz Nico. Good to see him back, because I believe he had to leave Tokyo early last week as Walmart and also, yes, can't quite catch me out, can they, with these names? And Speedy Tyres finally into the session. And I wonder who designed that livery, Liam. That's an absolute cracking livery on that car.
Yeah, some pretty colours on that one, aren't there, Trev? That's a big thank you to Speedy, actually, for repping Selby Acoustics. Of course, a huge sponsor of RaceOnOz, long-time supporter of ours. We love seeing them on the stream. Love giving them the love that they give us. As we see here, these FR racing cars all piling into the first corner for their final lap. And there was a bit of chaos at the final corner there, Trev, that I think we missed out. There's a couple of people barking in my ears, saying there was some contact in the final corner. So it could be a tough one to improve on for these guys. Could be a very difficult pole position time to beat from Tank. So far, a 15.6 is our benchmark.
Absolutely, and it's good doing all this slipstream business, but if it doesn't work, it could end in tears. And speaking of Selby Acoustics, did you know, Liam, Australia's largest online retailer of home theatre and electronics? That is fantastic. One of the great supporters of this series and RaceOnOz. Look at this though. Tank is the young man, Adam Elzine, 14 years of age. And this is a man who drives well and truly beyond his 14 years of age.
It's mighty impressive. His development has been something of a spectacle to behold, to be honest. And it's not just on Gran Turismo either. Of course, that's what we're focused on tonight, but his escapades, I'm not even sure if that's a word, to be honest, Trev, but his performances on Assetto Corsa have been nothing short of stunning. And I think there's another notch to the hat there as he racks up a pole position for round 3 in Division 1. That's an awesome lap there from Tank, and great teamwork on show as well.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the final qualifying results. Nico back this week, but Tank, Adam Elzine takes pole position with a 1:15.6 flat. And look how close it is back to Nico. Just very close, 0.012. And then Jimmy Payload, 0.46 thousandths of a second there. And Primer G, look how close it is all the way through the field here, Liam. Barely a 10th. Covering our top 8, and Distinct Andrew, championship leader, down in 8th.
That's a big one, to be honest. Our championship leader starting in 8th, but crucially for him, our second place man, Matt Simmons, only 1 point behind him in that Born and Thread car in P6. So there's not a lot of gain to be there. I mean, honestly, as long as these guys play the slipstream card right, anything can happen over this next 45 minutes. And I fully expect it to go wrong for at least someone tonight. I mean, 12 cars all in close proximity at a 6-corner circuit with so many slipstream opportunities. It's going to be, I mean, I can't predict it. I don't know if you can.
No, it's you'd be a brave man to try and predict a result here. Over the page, Prying Stingray 9th, Ridwan Hamza in 10th. Look at that, 0.2 of a second covering the top 10. Then Walmart, Alonso there, the cheeky little devil he is, 0.5 further off the pole position time. And Speedy Tyres there, 0.7 further back, as they are your qualifying results. And boy, oh boy, this truly does set up an incredible race around this circuit here, the high-speed ring. And we'll take a quick look at the drivers' standings as we get ready, Liam, to get this one underway. But Distinct Andrew, Matt Simmons, first and second. Primer GTR there, 29 points. Allen on 25. And Tank, best in Australia, says Max Silver. Savage Duck, hello to you as well. But we are not far from going racing here. 14 drivers all ready for 35 laps around the high-speed ring.
Very, very imminent, and I think now's the time where all these drivers will just start talking to the guys around them. They're going to be discussing in quiet. They're going to be just plotting, just trying to figure out what they're going to do for this race. There's going to be a few cheeky strategies that we're going to see tonight, I suspect. And of course, the big thing on everyone's mind is weather, Trev. There could be a massive downpour tonight. There could be rain here tonight.
Unbelievable. We'll keep an eye out for that. I don't think I've ever seen it rain around the high-speed ring, but it is surrounded by a large body of water. And could that get the atmospheric conditions coming in? I'm not much of a weatherman, but we are about to go racing. Forget about that. We are almost ready to go. And we are just waiting for our drivers to get onto the starting grid. And we are ready here, ladies and gentlemen. And we are almost ready to go racing. In fact, we are ready to go racing. They're on the starting grid. We are waiting for the 5 red lights. And we will be underway in this race. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights. You know the drill by now. It's lights out and away we go. Nico moves across, but Tank maintains the lead off the line. Jimmy Payload third, and then it's Primer GT fourth, and the slipstreaming, Liam, is starting already, these shenanigans.
Look at that line. These guys are so well drilled. They know where they need to be. They know how to make this race work, and it is going to be a long one trying to figure out. This is basically going to be high-speed mind games around the high-speed ring, and someone's already nearly in the fence. That was a big moment for Jimmy Payload there.
Unbelievable moment for Jimmy Payload, and you can see Nico and Tank already working together. Jimmy Payload in third, and then it's GT James. Everybody has got away cleanly here on lap 1, but Tank, the man who's a big Lewis Hamilton fan, leads the way. And then it's Matt down in 5th, Primer GTR. And oh, was that a moment for Jimmy? He's losing positions here, Liam, on the opening lap.
Yeah, Jimmy choosing to go 3 wide there through the tunnel. We've got GDR, Matt, and Jimmy, with James pushing Jimmy as well. There was a bit of a tussle between those 3 in the back there, trying to figure out where track position was going to lead them as they all try to filter in here for the final corner. Really difficult one. Any contact here and people end up in that Armco on the outside. Armco on the outside means a terrible, terrible run onto the main straight. You need to avoid that.
Absolutely. The thoughts of Liam Tame, who is alongside me in the commentary box tonight. Jimmy Payload, then GT James. Tank still leading this race. Are we going to see the medium tyres going for a 2-stop or the hards as Jimmy Payload's making moves? And so is that Distinct Andrew up into 4th, now 3rd.
Andrew is ruthless going forward. It's well known he is just absolutely cutthroat when he's going to make moves, and there's a bit of a pile up there going into the corner. I think everyone's gone for the same piece of track, and James is around in the background. You can just see him in the corner of the camera. Oh, it's a massive crunch there with a couple of cars, and James Walberton has came out worst of all.
Unbelievable. Jimmy Payload leads. Tank has been relegated to 2nd. We hope you're enjoying this at home. Oh, that's a silly thing to say because we know you are. But look how close it is through the tunnel. Past that Marshall standing on the right. Jimmy Payload leads. Tank in 2nd. My Matthew Simmons, did I say that? Yes, I did, Liam. Up into 3rd. But Oz Nico is dropping down to 4th. Prying Stingray in 5th. And now Speedy Tyres is making his way through the field as well.
Been an awesome start from Speedy Tyres. Jackson Austin already up into P6 and fastest lap of the race there as well. So he is making that Selby machine move, and he's doing it very cleverly too, just latched onto the back of Stingray so far, pushing him through, who's pushing Nico, and they're all just getting a little bit messy coming here through turn 1. 3 wide nearly on exit. Oh, it's just going to be chaos at every corner, Trev. I don't know how I'm going to look away.
Well, I tell you what, it's like one of those bad reality TV shows, Liam. You just can't look away, can you? But this is much more entertaining than that, as that Variety Gamer guy says. Am I seeing this correct? 35 laps, he says. I need to go and get another drink because this is going to be absolute madness. Of course, just remember that when you open up your lemonade, don't miss out on this action. Speedy Tyres making moves on Distinct Andrew, but Distinct Andrew, you've got to get up very early in the morning to get past him, Liam.
He's a very hard man to pass. We spoke about how crucial he is in attacking. He is even harder to attack. It's a very, very difficult task. Have to be up about Sparrow's fight, I would say, to get by Andrew Lee. So that's the task ahead of Speedy Tyres. Speedy Tyres also has Ballmarder Nolzo, as I'm going to join in the shenanigans as well, right on his rear bumper. These guys honestly, nose to tail, first to 7th, and then Trevor, a bit of an air gap forming between Matthew Simmons and Prying Stingray. That could be important to the guys behind.
Absolutely. Prying Stingray there in 8th. Noodles there in 9th. Prima GTR in 10th. Ridwan Hamza, the proud Serbian, back there in 11th. GT James, he's 7.3 off the lead, which might not sound like much, but in the grand scheme of things, with the slipstreaming and everybody working together here, he will be struggling to get back into it. But Distinct Andrew now, with a 1:16.827, has the fastest lap of the race. And Tank, oh boy, he's coming. Distinct Andrew is not too far behind him, so Tank's got some work on his hands here as the chasing pack look to chase him down.
Andrew already in second. What a testament to how quick this guy is and just how clinical he is as well. And getting through this field with this caliber of driver isn't easy. And a quick shout out as well to Jimmy Payload, currently sitting in P3. That's a season high for him so far and a huge result if he were to stay there. Although of course there is 40 minutes to go in this race, so probably a little bit early to be getting on the Jimmy Payload wagon.
Never too early. We love Jimmy, that's for sure. As we take a look now, speaking of Distinct Andrew, he's in second. He's very close. He might not be in second for very long, but it's Jimmy Payload making the most of his moves there on the inside. Wow, this is unbelievable. And was that contact between Jimmy Payload and Distinct Andrew? They're not giving an inch here as they come around. Oh, turn 2, only 6 corners on this circuit. And this is an unbelievable start to this race. And let me tell you, it is a Gran Turismo Classic, that's for sure. And we're seeing a classic race here because Tank, well, he's in P1, but that might not be the best position to be in here, Liam, at this stage of the race.
Trevor, we've had some absolute chaos in the background. More cars come together at turn 2. Now got Nicholas Dalton 20 seconds off the lead in 12th position. Terrible start to his season. James Warburton slightly caught up, managed to avoid that chaos. Speedy Tyres relegated down to 10th. He had damage all over. And of course, Matt Simmons as well involved in that one. So there was some huge chaos in the middle of our field.
Oh dear, Matt Simmons also involved in that. There's Prima GTR. Savage Duck, Max Silver saying Poketus is a prodigy. If I could speak English here, Liam, that would be great. Tyres complaining. Curious how everyone is nursing them at the moment. Can we see who is on what tyres? I don't know whether we can, as Ridwan Hamza, there Noodles, and Matt Simmons there in 6th. And Jimmy Payload now down to 5th. And Walmar and Prying Stingray 4th and 3rd here. So we're starting to see some gaps form in this race so far. But Jimmy still bumper to bumper there with Prying Stingray. And Jimmy is around. Oh, Jimmy, he is around there. He's down the field. And what has happened there?
Oh, I think, Trevor, there was a coming together between Matt and Jimmy. So the teammates have come a cropper. They may not be running the same livery, but these guys are both underneath the BCG Racing Team banner. So that is terrible, terrible news for these two guys. And what was an awesome start for Jimmy Payload has gone backwards so quickly.
Unbelievable, but can he fight his way back? I'm sure he can. Matt Simmons well down the field. There's Speedy Tyres. And I picked up this car on GT7 here, and the first livery I saw was made by the man alongside me in the showroom. Fantastic to see that. Prima GTR, there's a nice livery as well for Gopi there, and he's in 7th. And then Ridwan Hamza 6th, so there is that train, Noodles, and Prying Stingray as well. But Alonso is lead, he's right up behind the lead pack here. And let's have a look and see if he makes a move. Of course, running the Fernando Alonso Renault helmet from back in the day, as we can see on the in-car camera. But this is looking like it's going to be very, very close here. 1, 2, 3, then there's a gap. Back to Prying Stingray, and I believe we've just lost Nico from the room, if we can confirm that we've lost Nico here at the moment.
We have absolutely lost Oz Nico, unfortunately, so he's chosen to call it a bed, or call it a night early. And that's the second of 3 races so far that we've lost him from. A huge disappointment, not only for him, but for us as well. That would have been awesome to have him part of it. And I'm sure he'll come back next weekend to Bathurst and bounce back strong.
Absolutely. That is a big one there next week. Of course, this series based on the Eternal Sunday League format. One car for the entire 15 rounds. The beautiful Nissan Silvia S15 touring car. But look at this now, Tank. And we don't want to take our eyes off of this battle. Distinct Andrew, P1. We knew it wouldn't take him long, but did we think it'd take 8 laps for him to get in front? But Tank, the prodigy that he is, if I can say that word correctly, he is not going to give this up without a fight. And you can see Walmar Alonso, or Onolso, as he's calling himself here this evening, trying to trick us up in the commentary box. And whilst these 3 are squabbling at the front, is that Noodles not too far behind them as well, with Prima GTR, Red One, and Prying Stingray right there with them.
Yeah, these packs are reforming now, so all these guys, even if they did get dropped early, are getting a little bit of help. So we can see these 3 up the top, of course, very prominent in their runaway. Andrew, Tank, and Alonso trying to run for it. These pack behind, though, this is the interesting one, as Red One in behind just dropped a bunch of time. Thought I saw some sparks flying, probably ended up in the Armco. But these, I think it's 4 cars all together. They're going to do some damage into this lead if they can make it work correctly. And then we step back a little bit further. There's another 3-car train of Speedy, Jimmy, and Matthew Simmons, who are, of course, also in contact with one another. And these guys should be able to make some solid inroads again. James Warburton was tagging on the back of this field, however, has fallen back one more time after a mistake at the final corner.
Absolutely. Speedy tyres, continuing on with Jimmy Payload and Matty Simmons. Right, as you can see, the drivers using every bit of track. Almost, well, they more than almost outside the white lines there. They are well and truly using every bit of the runoff area here. Jimmy Payload 9th, of course. Matt Simmons, who's right up there in the championship, just 1 point behind Distinct Andrew. Is that going to be the case when we leave the high-speed ring here this evening? Because he is well down the field. But if there's one thing about Matty Simmons, he will not give up here until the race is done. GT James in 11th, 13 seconds off of the lead as we go back to the lead now. Lap 9 of this race. When are we expecting the first of the 2 stoppers, or are we expecting a 1-stop strategy here this evening, Liam, in this race?
Pretty confident, Trev, that most, if not all of these guys have elected to start on the hard tyre, which means I think this is going to be a 1-stop strategy for absolutely everybody. Of course, weather pending, if we get a rain shower, we're going to see some chaos. And we could honestly see the grid flip as well. We could see the guys at the back come all the way forward. This track is a different beast in the rain, and for the reason as well. If you've ever seen NASCARs try to take an oval in the rain, well, you probably haven't, because it usually ends pretty poorly. So you can probably imagine that turns 1 and 2 here, when they get wet, are a little bit interesting, to put it politely.
Absolutely, and let me tell you, this is serious business here, Liam Tame. This isn't the Sunday Cup. No disrespect to the Sunday Cup. We love a good Sunday Cup, but this is round 3 already of the Motorsport Australia Esports series here. And look at this now. Distinct Andrew just a couple of tenths on Tank in P2, and Alonso there dropping further back. 1.6, then back to Noodles, who's got Prima GTR for company. And, well, Matt Donetti, that's right, the Matt Donetti is in our chat. Can you believe? Absolute superstar, if you don't mind. And he says it's hard to see anyone other than the top 3 bringing home the chocolates, unless a big second group can form up. And are we going to see some unlikely alliances, Liam? Could we see some people working with each other that we wouldn't normally see here?
I think it's very possible. And at the moment, we're slightly seeing a couple people kind of grid up that we wouldn't usually see. So I think right now I'm kind of focusing on 4th and 5th. So Noodles, who's on our screen, has got Prima GDR in behind him, who of course was our race winner for race 2 at the final round for Tokyo. And he's just punching away some pretty decent lap times in behind Noodles here. Now these two, of course, if you're not that familiar with the Gran Turismo scene, have been racing together for a very, very long time. I think since probably about 2019, these guys have been sharing the track. So although it might be a slightly odd pairing to see them together and pushing one another, it's not odd whatsoever to see them on track together. And I think they'll probably link up quite well. They know how one another drive. They know what to expect. And I think you'll see these guys go very well together. They're starting to get this gap down to Alonso, so it could become a three-party very shortly.
Absolutely, they'll need to fight like lions, that's for sure, if they're going to catch Alonso ahead of them. Some Tour de France tactics here, potentially, says Savage Duck. As we continue on through the field, you can see Prima GTR there in 5th place. Sparks flying there for Noodles, and Ridwan and Prying Stingray 6th and 7th respectively. And then we go back to another interesting looking trio. Speedy Tyres there, beautiful Selby Acoustics livery there, made by the one man himself, Liam Tame. And did I say about Australia's largest online retailer of home theatre and electronics? I think I did, Liam, but let me just put that in there again. But this is looking interesting because Matt Simmons at the back of this, is he just biding his time because he's Matt Simmons here?
I can tell you actually, that pack at the very back is our fastest on track right now. So with Speedy Tyres leading them, Jimmy as the freight train, I suppose, and Matt Simmons doing all the pushing, these guys are actually taking some strips off of the leaders. So really solid time that these guys are putting in right now. We're just seeing times come across the line right now. So Speedy this time by 17 flat, and that is once again the fastest on track. So that's half a second out of the leaders, so massive time gains from these guys.
Unbelievable. These three are not out of the equation as Matt pokes his nose out. GT James there at the back as we head back to the front, and Matt Donetti there just explaining to us in the chat 3, 4 and 5 are closing as we see a Tank hanging on to the back of Distinct Andrew, our championship leader, but 3rd, 4th and 5th. Let's keep an eye here, Liam, on these gaps. Alonso has dropped back in 5th there. He's sort of in no man's land, but if you work together, we can see that gap, 3.3. It's closing, isn't it, towards the front duo?
Well, Alonso's starting to plummet like a stone. I think that front right tyre is starting to affect him, and that's one thing that Alonso's kind of lacking in his game, I suppose, compared to a lot of these other drivers. Of course, Alonso, no slouch in his own right, has been rapid in some of his Sunday League stuff, but he's yet to find that extra mile like what we've seen from, you know, your Andrew Lees, your Noodles, your GDRs, your Ridwans, Stingrays. All these guys have got that edge that they've got over someone else. I think we're yet to see that from Alonso, and I think the tyre wear is that last thing to come from him where he really takes the next step, really becomes a really solid driver. But what's important for him now is not to keep on slipping through the field. He's got to find a gap, he's got to slot into it, and he's got to make sure that his next pit stop is alongside somebody else, and that way he doesn't get dropped for the rest of the race.
Absolutely, and we'll keep an eye on that now. It's 3.5 seconds to the front there in this race. Lap 14 out of 35 in round 3 of the Motorsport Australia Esports Saturday League Cup. And it is absolutely fantastic to be seeing this action every Saturday night, of course, for the entire 15 rounds of the season. 2 legs, of course, followed by a playoff finals system, which we'll get to some details about that during the course of the season. But Noodles, he is looking racy here, and they don't want to make moves on each other, but they are still dropping back a tad as we're hearing that Max Silva is back up and about. There's Alonso, and there's Ridwan and Prying Stingray there. Let's look at some of these beautiful onboard shots inside the car. What is going through Prying Stingray's mind here, Liam? I would love to get a driver's perspective, given you are a driver and a very good one at that. What is going through these drivers' minds here in this situation around the high-speed ring?
I thought you were going to mention there, Trevor, I'm actually the reigning champion of this series. I don't want to big note myself too much, but it is probably one of the best accolades I've ever managed in my sim racing career. On board though with Stingray, There's a lot going on right now. Stingray, of course, one of our only controller users in the field, so he's probably got a little bit more to manage than most. And right now he's got his rear view mirror absolutely filled with payload. You just see him there creeping on the right hand side in that wing mirror, and payload's looking for a way through right now. All these guys probably very close to a pit stop. I think front right tyres are crying. They're just creeping into the final corner here. We're going to have a look, see if we see anyone ahead, anyone behind. Just start looking for that first pit stop, because you just know the first person to peel in is probably going to cause a bit of a chain reaction, and that's going to change the strategy game.
Absolutely waiting to see who will come in first. Here is Prying Stingray, and a great look inside these cars, and that is a beautiful helmet design. That's what we love about Gran Turismo. Visually, absolutely stunning. Oh my goodness! And something has happened there, and that looks like who is that? Is that Alonso who went off, Liam?
I think that was Alonso in front of the rest of them. Not sure what happened there to Walmart Alonso, but it's chaos up ahead of them. As you see, riding the high line was Ridwan Imhabza, who does hold on to 6th position. I believe it is 3 wide over the bridge. Matthew Simmons down the inside is going to grab them both. So Matt Simmons up to P7, contact with Prying Stingray in the middle of the corner. These two are heated competitors. They love racing one another. Do not mind putting the elbows out.
Unbelievable. 18 people with us here on the stream. Water Arrow wants to hear some team radio, didn't it? And you can see, look at these battles. And Stephen Bradbury getting a mention there, Savage Duck. I hope you're not referring to Liam there, but let us know. Our Speedy Tie and Ridwan, the proud Serbian, has taken the high ground, and he might have lost out. And no, they're saying in the chat, Liam, because they need to work together here, this group.
It's so hard to pick your battles. There was a group coming through. That group of Payload, Speedy and Matt were easily the fastest guys on track, and even that last lap, they are still some of the quickest cars on track. I think Speedy's been caught up in it a little bit harder than what everyone else has, but I tell you what, it's crunch time now, Trev. It is time for all of these guys to look at pit stops. There are front right tyres being destroyed right now on the front end of these Silvias. I can tell you a little bit of inside knowledge. Noodles right now in P4 has the worst front right tyre in the entire field right now.
Absolutely, a half race distance there or thereabouts. Distinct Andrew still leads. Then Tank in second, 5 seconds back to Primer GTR Noodles with his tyres screaming, and it won't be doing him much good either, because he's got Matt 5th, Jimmy Payload 6th, and Prying Stingray. When are we going to see some pit stops? Let us know in the chat when you're expecting to see a pit stop or two coming your way. But look at them. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4 wide? They're coming in, and they're all coming in together, Liam. This could cause carnage as somebody stayed out, but we've got some pit stop action here.
I'll tell you what nearly happened was Prying Stingray going down the inside of Paul Cantinoli and nearly got forced into the pit lane. So those 3 BCG cars all wanted to pit. Ridwan going with them, as well as Alonso. And Stingray, wrong place, wrong time, nearly got dragged with them.
Unbelievable there. It was almost a plane crash heading into the pit lane, as we see Jimmy also in the pits. Jimothy is out. Ridwan Hamza is out as well. So is Alonso. GT James there at the back. And you can see there one of the private entries there. Distinct Andrew, surely. Ducks and Drakes with the pit work. Indeed, Savage Duck. I see what you did there. But surely now, Liam, these two have got to think about coming in. Otherwise, they're just going to be losing some of that advantage. But in their favour, they've got that gap, haven't they, back to third?
Yeah, they had about a 5-second gap back to the closest car, so they should have plenty of buffer for an undercut. Even the closest cars weren't particularly aggressive in the undercut, as we see here, both of them peeling in. So Andrew and Tank both coming in. Andrew using a fair bit more fuel than Tank. That is just under a second worth of pit stop time, and a massive use there from GDR, who comes in behind them. Only 18 litres left in his tank. That's going to be a huge loss for him. He'll see himself lose at least 2 seconds in the pit stop versus those guys. But the focus should be on right now Mint Matt and Noodles coming through the final corner at the moment. Where are they going to be relative to these guys coming out of pit lane right now?
How much fuel went into Tank's tank I think it was 68 litres-ish, I think. We can see there. It is 70, 80 there. Prying Stingray tank comes out. Prying Stingray, Distinct Andrew in second. There, of course, beautiful car, that one. Of course, they're all beautiful because they're all Sylvias, of course. And that's what we love about the S15 touring car. And, well, are these boys going to start being nice to each other? Are they going to start working together? Let's just wait and see. But where is the time going? Liam, lap 19, we're over half race distance already, and most, if not all, of the drivers doing the one stop. No surprises there on strategy this evening.
We are flying through it, Trev, and a couple interesting notes out of that pit stop. Of course, you did see that there was an under fuel from Tank, who has come out in the lead. So Tank in first has actually underfueled his car massively. That's going to leave him open to Andrew, probably jumping him later in this stint. Of course, there's only one person Andrew has to pass with a 6.7 second gap behind him. That's a massive strategy play from Tank, and one that I'm not sure he's thought through. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see if it gets him anywhere. But that's a vulnerable position for Tank to put himself at the front.
Absolutely, and Distinct Andrew, boy, this is going to be a test for Adam Elzine. That's his real name, and he's got a few names there, doesn't he? But he is a childhood superstar, just 14 years of age. And just to put this into perspective, the man behind him, Distinct Andrew, 6 Ruse Division 1 champion. So 2023 Motorsports Australia GT7 champion, and that is very intimidating, but this man is standing up to the pressure, and Liam, he's absorbing that pressure like a big sponge out in P1.
He's just, he is a small sponge, I would say. I'm not sure if anyone's ever seen him that is in this stream, but he is a small young man, and he has got some big aspirations in terms of sim racing. He's done some awesome stuff so far in his career, none less right now than leading round 3 of the Motorsport Australia Saturday League Cup, putting up a huge effort, holding off Andrew Lee. Of course, was a Gran Turismo Online Series world finalist, was this man. So one of the best in the world right behind him right now, and I don't know how he's going to soak up the pressure, but he's got 15 laps to figure it out.
Unbelievable. 22 people out there, you gorgeous people out there watching the stream. Liam Tame is alongside me in the commentary box. Huge numbers on a Saturday night for round 3 of this Motorsport Australia Series, the Saturday League Cup here for Race on Oz. And don't forget, the Gamesmen, Motorsport Australia, Selby Acoustics. We wouldn't be here, Liam, watching this battle for the lead without the beautiful work of those who are supporting us. But Andrew wants to get through here.
Our sponsors are so crucial to us. We wouldn't have survived as long as we have without the support of the Gamesmen and Selby Acoustics. Massive thank you to those guys. I hope they're watching in some way tonight to watch their hard work come to fruition. Of course, the Gamesmen, Australia's oldest independent video game retailer. Haven't spoken enough about them this season. We absolutely will be. They've been one of the core companies behind the survival of Ruse over the years. Gamesman Racing Team, of course, in Division 2. There is a Division 2 of this series. They are running right now in parallel at the same track, same cars. What we're watching right now is the big boys. Where else in the world would you see Matt Simmons driving a Nissan Silvia touring car on the high speed ring, Trevor?
Unbelievable. Matt Simmons, I'll never forget the day he welcomed me to the cafe, the Matthew Simmons, and he's in P3 here, but he's got some work to do. Noodles right behind him. Speedy tyres as well, as Water Arrow saying, wonder if the mid-pack will work together with 13 laps to go now. Savage Duck would love to see that happen. Matty Simmons, and if they work together, that gap is 5.2 to our leader, which means, of course, that Tank has relinquished the lead to Distinct Andrew, but he is keeping Andrew honest here, Liam. He is not going to go away anytime soon for Distinct Andrew.
And he needs to as well, Trev. He can't drop the toe of Andrew Lee. If he drops the toe, not only is Tank's race done, but realistically Andrew's is too, because the quickest cars on track right now, that pack of three, once again, Matthew Simmons, Paul Candonolian and Jackson Austin, the three BCG cars are absolutely flying right now. 16.7s all round for those cars. Just far and above quicker than what Andrew and Tank have been able to do at the top. I think there's going to be a little bit of a change in pace right now. I think Tank was probably holding Andrew up a little bit with him doing the leading and Andrew doing the pushing. We're going to really see what Andrew's got underneath him right now these next couple laps, and he needs to make them count.
Absolutely. Gregory, the Gregory 33, first time chatter. He says go BCG. We like him, Liam, don't we? BCG saying go BCG there. Great to have you, the Gregory. First time chatter. Let's hope you're following the channel as well. Savage Duck loves the Gamesmen. Cannot thank them enough. We absolutely love their work. Computer games is their game, and this is a game within a game, if you know what I'm trying to say there, because Tank and Distinct Andrew continuing, but 16.7s, as you mentioned, Liam, they are very, very quick indeed, and it's, what is it now, 4.8 seconds to Tank here, as we see Noodles fourth, Speedy Tyres in fifth, Jimothy, Primer GTR, so this battle is also continuing on. 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th all together.
And Jimmy slipped a fair way back. He was on the back of that 3-car BCG train. 4th BCG car, of course, is Jimothy Payload. We see this round, actually, he's got a nice little payload sticker on the back of his S15. Just wants to remind everyone who he is, in case we'd forgotten. But don't you worry, Jimmy, we could never forget who you are. He's doing a very fine job back in 6th at the moment, leading this train now, 6th to 9th position, doing a very good job. One note, actually, I hadn't really realised it, Trev, prying Stingray all the way back to 10th and nowhere.
Absolutely, there he is, the little engine that could. He thinks he can, and you can see there he's sitting in P10. Oh, that's not very exciting though, is it, Liam? 17 seconds off of the lead, 7.8 to Walmar Alfonso. Yes, Alonso. It's got me there, but has Alonso disappeared? No, he hasn't. And then 13 back to GT James. This is not very exciting back here in P11.
Very, very difficult to get your race back on track from all the way back there. It's just, I don't know what you can do from back there. He's 12 seconds off the back of Stingray. Stingray himself 7 seconds behind his team boss Ridwan. It's just impossible to get your race back on track from that far back. I mean, it's a tough one. High Speed Ring is one of those circuits where the moment you lose toe, your race is very much over. And we're seeing just how important toe is. 16.5 from Noodles. The gauntlet has been put down. They are tearing absolute strips. Actually, I'm not even sure they're strips. They are absolute steaks out of these top two right now, but it's not quite enough, Trevor. There are 4.5 seconds between second and third. They're only taking about 2.5 to 3 tenths a lap. It's not quite enough.
It's not enough. I think 10 laps to go as well. Let's have a look. There is Matt. Fun fact, this circuit, loosely based on one of the tracks in Motortoon Grand Prix, Polyphony Digital's first game. So there you go for a little Saturday night trivia for your Saturday evening here. But 20 people, huge numbers on the stream. Let us know where you're watching us from. We'd love to hear from each and every one of you here. But are they gaining enough time? That's the question, because the laps, this is an incredible, is it even going to go 45 minutes, Liam? 10 laps to go. We are speeding through this one.
Yeah, going very quickly. The pace has been so much quicker than I think anyone expected. When we set these 35 laps, I'm not sure we were expecting to see these times. Front row just did 16.9s, and we've seen another gauntlet thrown down. Mintmat there with a 16.4. So there's the half a second. It's almost like these guys are listening to me, because that sort of lap time is what they need to chase down these top two.
Absolutely. Viper is in Sydney. There up in New South Wales. Matty Donetti, stop it. He says, Trev and Liam, my favourite commentary duo. But I wonder how Isaac feels about that. But Mintmat, third. Noodles 4th, Speedy Tyres in 5th, and I'm tuning in from Benalla near Winton in Victoria, down the Hume Freeway there, and Mitmat, Noodles, Speedy Tyres, and is that weather coming in, Liam? It's looking a little foggy out there, and we don't even have Foggy with us tonight.
Tell you what, Trevor, I was just thinking the exact same thing. It is looking very, very hazy out behind that final corner. Even turn 4, just behind there. Wonder if there's a little bit of weather blowing in. There could be a super exciting climax to this race, and it's been good already. It's been non-stop action, a lot of strategy, a lot of action, but I'm just really curious to see what happens here in the closing stages. There could be a massive shift to the dynamic.
Absolutely, and Matt Donetti, please, before you leave, Trev and Liam is your favourite commentary duo. Just remember that Foggy's out there, and he's just dropped some sad faces in the chat. But we do love Isaac Fogarty here tonight. But look at this, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. There is Ridwan Hamza, and they are continuing. Prying Stingray there in 10th. And just at the back with GT James. But let's have a look at what's happening at the front. Tank, lap 27 out of 35. This man is a huge Lewis Hamilton fan, and he just needs some hammer time here towards the end of this race. And can he get this job done? But Matt Simmons 4.4, and you can also see that Speedy Tyres, there's a bit of a gap forming there. Speedy Tyres in 5th, but 3rd and 4th, have they got enough time left? Liam, the laps are running out. Is time becoming a factor?
It's very touch and go, and I think as much as time is becoming a factor, I think this man behind Andrew is going to become just as much of a factor. The times are slowing, Trev. We're going for 16.9s just about. First through to 4th, all with 16.9s basically for that lap just then. So everything's starting to equalise. Only 2 cars in the lead pack, and there's only 2 cars in the 2 chasing them. So this drop-off of Speedy is probably going to sink them. I was just thinking it before. I think 3 cars is so much more beneficial. Have that extra S15 just pushing you along. Because those 4 cars that are, well actually 4 cars, we've lost Ridwan from that pack from 6th to 9th. So Ridwan has made a huge mistake somewhere, and he's dropped a 2.5 seconds to Jimmy Payload, so that's going to stall their progress as well. But I was just thinking those 4 cars back there are really coming at Speedy very quickly, so there could be some very late position changes here as we see this race in the closing stages. Just 7 laps to go after we cross the line here.
Unbelievable. 36 minutes having gone in this race. The weather is holding out. We did have the chance of rain, but well, it must have just been me seeing things, because that weather looks as though it's cleared up. It was getting a little bit misty there. Matt Simmons, all they can see just up ahead of them. Tank and Distinct Andrew here, Noodles and Mitmat, and you can see there that's so close, isn't it, between Noodles in the Autobahn livery. And we've heard a few comments in the chat saying surely that beautiful Autobahn livery must be worth something. Liam, is it worth an extra 20 horsepower?
I think the way I designed it, it was supposed to give him about 600 horsepower, so it was a little bit more than what's stock in the S15. But no, all jokes aside, that is a pretty nice livery. Of course, I did design it, so I won't give it too many credits. But yeah, a lot of fun to make, based off a Steve Owen Autobahn Supercars livery. A lot of fun to do. There's a couple in the grid that are mine. Won't go through all of them. We don't have the time to be doing that, because there are gaps forming and there are gaps closing in this field in the closing laps. So 12 cars down to 11. Of course, lost Oz Nico very early on. Huge disappointment from him. But we are trying to see who's going to take that #1 spot. Right now, I think there's only 2 guys who are going to do it. It's Andrew versus Tank for the lead of this race. Just 6 laps to go now. Laps are dwindling down. They are just happening so fast, Trevor. I can't believe how quickly this has gone.
Absolutely. We are going to be home for dinner this evening. Whether you're in Sydney, New South Wales, or Winton Motor Raceway in Benalla in Victoria. Let me tell you, tyre wear, that is an interesting topic to bring up here. We saw as well with Tank, he's currently in P2. Is fuel going to be an issue, or is tyre wear going to come into play with 5 laps to go, or will these guys be able to see it out through to the end?
I tell you that both fuel and tyre wear are absolutely going to be an issue for these guys, and there's a couple people more affected than others. I think if I were to look through the field right now, I'm not going to throw too many spoilers in, but there's probably someone battling for the lead of this race who is not so safe on fuel. So I think I'll leave it at that. Tyre wear, of course, we knew that was an issue. One car in particular, and I don't think there's any secrets about it, Speedy Tyres, who is currently dropping harder than anybody. His front right has seen better days.
Absolutely. And you can see there, Prima GTR, Walmar, Alonso there, and Jimmy Payload. And they are also very close, but just 5 laps to go in this race. And Prima GTR, he is very much a quiet achiever. Race 2 winner, of course, in this championship. Who could forget that last time out? But he's a man, Liam, who lets his driving do the talking. He's got a lot of experience too. Ex-Carrera Cup Australia mechanic. He knows a thing or two about cars.
He's a very technical driver. He really knows how to get the most out of a car, not just through raw driving, but I think a little bit of mechanical sympathy goes a long way when it comes to how GTR drives and how he approaches his racing. He's a very, very switched on bloke, probably one of the smartest in the field as well. Always knows how to make a strategy work, knows how to look after the tyre. He's just a very clever, quick, high achieving guy, and I think his stuff with Carrera Cup Australia speaks numbers about what he's like as a driver, what he's like as a guy. I've met him in person. He's a fantastic bloke, someone I'm very happy to have a beer with any time. But he's closing in on the back of Speedy Tyres at the moment, 5th and 6th, closing in rapidly. These guys have met as well. They've knocked each other around on a karting track before. I can tell you, I've seen that firsthand. These guys going to war on a karting track. It's very entertaining. But all of these guys are going to be really closing up, having a bit of a ding-dong battle in the closing lap. Speedy Tyres, I think he was hoping there'd probably be a bit more life in his tyres, because that front right, I'll tell you, is looking shocking.
Absolutely. You might say they're not Speedy Tyres at the moment there, working beautifully there with the jokes, but Speedy boy, he's got some work to do here. Speedy Tyres, if his tyres are screaming, they are screaming right now, and boy oh boy, he's got, oh, Prima GTR there. I thought there was some contact, as Variety Gamer Guy says. I'm going to say based off the 0506 Autobahn Commodore from Rod Nash Racing in partnership with Perkins Engineering. But Prima GTR, Gopi is making some moves here. He's old school, this man. GT Pro driver, of course. Oh, this has got to end in tears, Liam. Surely 4 cars cannot be this close around the high-speed ring, surely.
Oh, it has before. It's been a messy night in terms of a little bit of the pack racing. Of course, Oz Nico coming a cropper very, very early on. James Warburton and prying Stingray as well. It's been an absolute mess. Look at them on the exit of that corner. GTR and Payload all scrapping for it. They want tow. They want that extra bit of slipstream they can get, and they're forming 2 packs now, Trevor. So these two on our left-hand side of the screen, GTR and Alonso versus Speedy and Payload on the right-hand side. This is awesome. This is pack racing stuff. This is what we get up for. And to watch this sort of action, 2x2 Speedy Tyres, this is incredible, isn't it? Unbelievable scenes here at the high-speed ring in this 3rd round of the championship. My goodness, which way is it going to go here? Saturday League Cup by RaceOnOz. The numbers have been incredible here this evening. We've got to flick through. There's Ridwan prying Stingray. We are getting to the business end here, Liam. And guess what? 1st and 2nd, nothing between them. Which way is this going to go? Oh, I've got no idea. Only 2 laps remaining as they round the final corner onto this front straight. And it's all about whether Tank can pass these guys or not. As they're in the wall there in the background. Was that GTR scraping the wall around that corner? Or was that a replay? That was the replay there of these guys coming around turn 1 and turn 2. It was an absolute mess. as we see them now onto the main straight. And that was Alonso in the wall in the background as well. They're all scrapping for slipstream. They all want these points. There are big points on offer. And of course, a playoff final system at the end of it. So every single point counts if you want to make these finals.
Absolutely. Every single point counts here this evening in this championship, of course. The 8 drivers make it, 4 drivers for the final round, of course, the playoff finals system. And you can see some visual damage on that car of Walmar Alonso there. He's continuing on though, we love it, speedy tyres as well. But we, just like that, are on the penultimate lap of this race. Oh my goodness me. Distinct Andrew leads, our championship leader. Will he be in P1 when we come across the line? Unbelievable. I do not want to tip a winner here, but Tank, if he's going to have a go, whereabouts does he need to get it done?
I think it's got to be into turn 3, Trevor. It's his only hope. I think he's probably sized up this slipstream right here. He knows that he can't pass Andrew before the finish line. He needs to be ahead before they come out of that final corner. So it's a big task for him. This young man has the world in front of him with only a lap to go. This could be one of the biggest wins in his sim racing career, Trevor.
Final lap, he pulls out here. He has a look outside, then onto the inside. He's surely got to tuck back in behind Distinct Andrew as we approach turn 2. He does not want to do this too early, of course, because then he will be left vulnerable for the rest of the lap. My goodness me, we're coming down. Only a few corners here. On the final lap here, he's pulled out. Is he making a move, Liam?
He got a great run out of turn 2. He knew what he needed to do. He set himself up, got a fantastic run. He's got to do it one more time now. Under the tunnel, he missed out on that main overtaking opportunity. Andrew's running it very defensive right now. He is blocking like his life depends on it. And I'll tell you what, the race win, it does depend on it. As here, Andrew choosing the inside line. He's going to go left top speed through this final corner. Tank around the outside, and Andrew does the slide job on him. Tank getting over and under him. There's still a chance here coming into this final. It's going to be a drag race to the line, Trevor, but I think Andrew's just going to hold him. Pulls to the inside, and Andrew Lee to the line is going to win race 3 of Division 1 Motorsport Australia Saturday League Cup.
Unbelievable finish. Noodles pulls out. I think he's got Matt. He's got Matt. Mint Matt Simmons there, finishing 4th. Noodles, let's have a look. Primer GTR across the line. Go Tank, go Andrew. What a race, says Max Silver. Unbelievable Primer GTR. Alonso 6th as the checkered flags out. Jimmy Payload as well, taking 7th ahead of Ridwan in 8th. Speedy Tyres in 9th. Here comes Stingray across the line in 10th. And don't forget about GT James across the line. Matty Simmons picking up the fastest lap too. Remember that, Liam Tame, 1:16.484. But what about the race we've just witnessed here tonight? And what about the gaps as well at the end between first and second? But it was that man taking the victory here this evening. 7 positions from qualifying. We were worried about his qualifying session, but I tell you what, we forgot that it's Distinct Andrew, of course. And, well, we know that with him, anything is possible, Liam.
He's just inevitable. I mean, much like Iron Man, Andrew Lee is just the guy to beat. And that is such a solid performance from the Distinct Gaming driver. He is just time and time again proving that he is the top dog, not only in Oceania and Australia, but in the world. There is pretty much no one better at doing what he does than Andrew Lee. He's just such a solid, well-rounded driver. I honestly thought for a second there that Tank might have had the switchback going for him, but it just wasn't to be. And I think the big silver lining for him there was that Tank took him all the way. That is one of the best drivers in Australia. Tank finished a 10th behind him.
Unbelievable. There are your final results, I know. Dash Vanguard, what a finish. First time chatter too. Don't forget to follow. Thanks for watching here this evening. But round 3 of this championship, it just keeps getting better each and every time. Distinct Andrew, after 35 laps, 45 minutes, 47.2 seconds, and there's only 1/10 between them. Look at the best laps as well. 16.7s there for those two guys. And then Noodles just getting Matt Simmons on the line again there for P3. P4 for Matty Simmons. Prima GTR in 5th. And Alonso in 6th. Payload, Jimmy Payload in 7th. Ridwan in 8th position there as we go across the page. Speedy Tyres in 9th. They're 27 seconds further back. Prying Stingray 32 seconds off of the lead, rounding out your top 10 ahead of GT James. And unfortunately, Liam, we lost Nico earlier on in the evening. But wow, the comments, the fans are loving it. Variety Gamer Guy, my mouth's watering for more racing action. And guess what, Liam? They're going to get more racing action here, of course, because we are just getting started in this championship.
Only round 3, Trevor. Pretty crazy to think we've got 15 rounds of this to close out our year. We are only a 5th of the way in. I think the important thing as well, there's been a lot of chatter between the drivers that so far it's been a lot of slipstreamy tracks. It's been a lot of stuff that's just get behind the guy in front of you and pray that you can hang on to his slipstream for as long as possible. Tell you what, that stops now. We go to Bathurst next weekend, August 23rd. Mark it on your calendar. We are back to Mount Panorama next Saturday. And I, for one, am very, very excited to be back at Australia's home of racing.
Sorry, Liam. So I was marking that in my calendar there as you were talking. But that is round 4, August the 23rd at Bathurst. And that is just for the first leg of this season. As you can see, all the dates are there on your screen. And just recapping here this evening, our final results are there on your screen. It was Distinct Andrew Tank just behind him by 1/10 of a second. Noodles rounding out the podium. Mitmat, Prima GTR, and Walmar Alonso. Jimmy Payload in 7th. Ridwan in 8th. Speedy Tyres, Prying Stingray, rounding out the top 10. GT James in 11th. And unfortunately, we lost Oz Nico there early on in the race. If you are just joining us, where have you been? Naughty, but we'll forgive you this time. But wow, that was round 3 of this championship, Liam, and I think I need a cool glass of water because that was pretty hectic stuff. But thank you once again for making yourself available. You're a very busy man, Liam Tame, and give us a big shout out to all of the sponsors and all of those behind the scenes who make this possible for this championship.
Oh, it's just so hard to do it in one go. I hope there's still a couple people who will hear this one. But of course, a huge thank you to my admin team. John O'Clint, Snorksel, Halfbite, Captain Risky. There's a bunch of guys doing stuff behind the scenes these days. Savage Duck, of course, does so much for us. T. Feckles, Isaac Fogarty and yourself, of course, for streaming this. It's been awesome so far, only 3 rounds in. And then the sponsors, of course, Selby Acoustics and the Gamesman, long-term sponsors of ours. And a huge thank you as well to Motorsport Australia and Motorsport Australia Esports for trusting us with this series. It's been very, very messy so far, but I think that just adds to the allure, doesn't it? It's been chaos. It has been a lot of entertainment, and we're still just getting started.
Absolutely. That's what we love to see. That was round 3 of this championship here. Done and dusted. The high-speed ring. We are out of here. Be kind to one another. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And don't forget to join us for round 4 at the famous Mount Panorama at Bathurst. It was Distinct Andrew winning tonight, extending his championship lead. And we'll see you next time out at Mount Panorama for round 4 of this championship. But for now, it's goodbye. See you next time.